Good afternoon, everyone. After an insightful online session, we now move on to the next thought-provoking session by Professor Bharat Khuslani on the theme cybercrime, cyber frauds, and cybersecurity. Dr. Bharat holds a PhD in aerospace engineering from Los Angeles. His career spans academia, industry, and the tech corporate world, giving him a holistic perspective on how systems are built and deployed. Dr. Bharat is known for constantly discovering new alternative approaches to complex problems. Please give a big round of applause to welcome our speaker, Professor Dr. Bharat Khuslani. Sir, please come.
So, we'll start. All right. Good evening to everybody. And I think that every class here is 50 minutes. Am I right? Okay. So, we are a total one class late. Our talk was scheduled at 3:30. If you see your mobiles, it's exactly 4:20 now. It's like missing an entire class. Do you think it's good to miss an entire class? Or it depends upon the subject. Some subjects you will say, yeah, it's okay. Others, no. Maybe it depends upon whether the subject is a core subject or whether it is forced upon you. Anyhow, so the thing is that my talks are basically not those types of talks that you are used to. They may start off somewhere, they may end somewhere, they may in the middle go somewhere. But in general, I will try to, for this, because this is a knowledgeable audience. You know, you can do here, there for some other types of audience. But if the audience is knowledgeable, or if the audience is such that they have come specifically for that particular topic, then it is going to irritate the hell out of them if you try to go off track. So I don't know whether you are, really interested in this type of topic, or maybe somebody just forced you to come here, but we'll see how it goes. So before I start, I want to give a salutation to respected our Vice Chairman. He is here. Extremely busy person in spite of that. And our HOD, Niharji, our Dean Accreditation, Vishal, and Dean R&D. Associate Dean. No, not a good idea to pull him down on a formal stage. And our...
If you pull me and my height is sufficient to be taller than anybody else.
And our R&D Dean Deepak ji, Anand ji, and our outside guest who is a professor of practice, Dr. Utpal, internal guest, and total of 28 faculty members. All right. I thought it was up till 4:30 because some people, they requested that I should wind up in 5 minutes. I said it's not possible because 5 minutes it takes for me just to start up and give introduction. So we have a total of 28 faculty members and 7 staff members for my talk, a ratio of 1:4. I don't know. Let's start with this topic. So the thing is that I know that if you have been attending this conference, so it's all cybersecurity. So why one more talk, and that too at the end of it, and afterwards also we have got somebody to summarize the conference. Is that correct? So I will try to keep this brief, and also I have been given a directive that I have to wind up by 4:45. I will try to also take into account some of the other faculty members who said that I should wind up in 5 minutes. So maybe an average, something like that. Right. Let's see what this type of talk is going to be, which involves 3 different aspects. We all think that it is just one, but actually we can divide it into three separate parts. One is cybercrime, one is cyber fraud, one is cyber security. I am very sure that we are not going to come till the cyber security part. Maybe we can approach cyber fraud and possibly discuss some of the metrics of cybercrime. Okay, right. So if I start this in the strange. Okay. First of all, let me just give a brief of this. So we are looking at the distribution of cyber attacks in selected global regions. Now, this you may think that this is slightly outdated data, but I can only work with what data is available to me and what somebody else has given. So mostly my data is from 2022 because that is the only data I was able to get from, but it's a reliable data. So here we are starting with this 2024 data. I hope that we are able to see these bottom x-axis lines. So one is global, one is Americas, one is European, and one is Asia Pacific. We are distinguishing between four different types. One is multi-purpose malware, info stealers, mobile, and crypto miners. These are all different types. Let me give you an example of all of these different types, but basically we can notice here that crypto miners, they have not reached up to that level. We think that, crypto mining, so I have these two. Please, can you pass on the mic to one here and to other? I just want to see if audience knows. Suppose I say, please don't use the mobile for this session. You can use it for checking your WhatsApp, whatever, but for some of the questions that I may ask, please don't use. I just want to see if you are aware or you know some of the common things that I think that every Indian should know about these types of. Please give one here. So can you tell me what, in crypto mining, what type of cyber crime or cyber fraud may occur? We know that there is a lot of crypto mining going on.
Stealing of coins.
Stealing of coins. Okay. What else? Stealing of coins, maybe, somebody who is highly skilled, he may be able to do that. But what about somebody who is not that well versed, but still he is involved in hacking, in cybercrime related to crypto mining? Nobody? Fake coins being generated. Okay. That's an important issue because, one Bitcoin, if it's a fake, you instantly lose such a lot of money. And that will be an example of. But let me come to the most common type of, in the next slide of this. Anyhow, what about the mobile? Those must be very common. I think that, I'm just trying to elicit some response from the audience. There are tons of mobile related cyber crimes. Please don't use the mobile. I just want to see, top of the head, are you able to come up with any type? Let us be responsive people. I know that it's getting late. Just one response. Okay, all right. Malware, OTP, personal information, something, in general. Okay, what about info stealers? SMS. Maybe, okay. What about multi-purpose malware? Any malware which has more than one purpose? Any example, any name? Pegasus. What does Pegasus do? Okay. Okay. So here are the examples. So multi-purpose, I have only listed one which are, widely known. So Emotet, Trickbot, and info stealers, Redline Stealer, Vidar, Raccoon, botnets, Mirai, Zeus, Mozi, and mobile attacks. if you do not know, these are the most prevalent ones: FluBot, Joker, Xloader, and so on. If you do not know these, then I think you should really get familiar with those ones. Okay, these are the specifically what I was asking you. So these are the ones which are the related to crypto mining. Coin miner, so it's a malware that installs cryptocurrency mining software, and XMRig, open source, and Kinsing, Linux based, Team TNT, so it's a thread group, and then Jenkins miner, so it will also mine scripts. But most of this, what they will do is they will attack your system and they will make it their own for the purpose of crypto mining. So they will use a lot of your electricity, your computational power, and so on. So you won't even know what is going on behind. Maybe you realize that the computer has become suddenly very slow and you may not even be aware what is going on. But in the background, it will be running this crypto mining operation. So you are giving your resources for free to that person. So it is, I have tried, everybody has tried, very, very difficult. All of these ones are very challenging ones. Okay, next one. All right, let me quickly run through some statistics. These are the number of cyber crimes reported. So like I told you, I have data only up till 2022, or maybe I have till more, but I don't want to show it to you because I'm concerned that you may use it and I'd want to use it first. So this is data till 2022. So
Data is provided by NCRB.
yes.
That is in the public forum.
So that is National Crime Reporting Bureau. Okay, you can also get that data. All right, you can get the data, go to your Excel and just plot what I have done. As easy as that. And also, it's these types of plots may also be available if somebody else has done it. Okay, so we start 2012 very low, and now 2022 we have got, in spite of that, this may seem like a very small number. You know, 66,000 in front of 1.5 billion people seems like a very small, because we got, how many SIM cards we got in this country? We got around 1.25 billion SIM cards. That is the data. And more than like millions, billions of people are using the internet. So for me, this is a very small number, 65,000, 66,000. All right, since all of you are computer science people, okay, let me just do a small mathematics exercise and let me see if you are awake. So if you are awake, please tell me what is the most highest percentage jump, which year? Which year to which year? 1819. All right. So how many agree from 18 to 19 is the highest percentage jump?
2016, 17.
No, not all. Please just give one answer. So I will go with your first answer. Anybody else? How many agree with this figure? 18, 19. You. No, just one answer. 13, 14. 16, 17. 16, 17. 2 for 16, 17. 16, 3 for 16, 17. Others not able to calculate the percentage? Computer science people, math should be your strong point. If somebody asks you to calculate percentage, you should be immediately, at least ballpark you can do, right? Just round out the figures to nearest 1,000 and you can arrive at that. 16, 17. 16, 17. Okay. Okay. So let's see what the actual answer is. 16 to 17 is the highest one. And the reason I said is the other one, 23 to 2013 to 14 is the second highest, and 2018 to 19, which appears, you see that from here, I just wanted to show you like whatever you see can be so misleading. From here, it seems like 2018 in the very first, like our, what is your name? Dr. Lokesh, you know, at Instantly he said 2018 to 19. But this is so misleading. Statistics can be so misleading. You can see and you can immediately say, yes, that is the correct answer. But that is not. And it is not even the second highest. It is the third highest. The first highest being 2013 to 2014. Anyhow, so for me,
I think the graph plotted is a little bit wrong. I mean, the bar charts that you are showing.
yeah,
Is misleading, right? Scaling is wrong.
okay,
Just because of that reason.
okay,
Just because of that reason.
okay. So scaling also,
So it's a graphical representation. If the graphical representation is the main source of knowledge, if it is not correct, then there is no meaning of the value. If the graphical representation is not correct.
no, but the values are here.
No, sir.
Okay, let's have the discussion later on. Okay, let me quickly move through the other slide. All right, so let us go to which state. So, okay, that's all of India. But I also want to know that the state I am currently living in, whether it is rampant in cybercrime and so forth, whether I am living in a dangerous state or a union territory, or I just want to see, whether if a state is like Karnataka, which has Bangalore, IT capital, are there more there? Or Telangana, which is Hyderabad, the Cyberabad. So are there more? So that is indeed true that we start off with Telangana, which is the highest number of cybercrimes. Then next comes Karnataka, then comes Uttar Pradesh, then comes Maharashtra, AP, Andhra Pradesh, and so forth, until we come to all of these union territories which are almost free of cybercrimes. So if you want to be free of cybercrime, if you don't want to have that danger lurking in your head, then maybe you are better off living in a union territory rather than in a state. But anyhow, Delhi is less, but I don't believe these figures because I think there is a lot of underreporting going on. If I had time, we would have gone through the reasons of all of this underreporting. I have some reasons. But maybe you have, I just want to see whether you can figure out what is the reason for underreporting of all of this. Because I think this is massively and grossly underreported. Okay, so I did some analysis. I took data of internet users. Now, this internet is a composite internet user index. So what is composite internet user? So there was a data which was men and women internet users, and if you average them out, so that is there, composite is the average of men and women internet, and then I obtained a Pearson correlation coefficient for the cybercrime cases for each of this state versus the composite. Because I was thinking that if there are more internet users, then maybe the cybercrime is more there. Straightforward logic. If there are less internet users, you would expect cybercrime rate to be less. But not so, because R value, Pearson coefficient, is minus 0.284, which is a weak negative. It's not a strong negative. It's not like minus point or something. Definitely not a positive. So I was expecting, I think you also would be expecting a positive, high positive correlation, but that is not so. I don't know the reason for that. Maybe we can think about it and write a paper for some social sciences journal for the reason for this.
For which state it is negative?
It's a overall.
It's overall.
I told that for some value it is negative.
No, it's a overall. R value overall.
All the states are there.
Yeah.
All the states are there.
Okay. Let's go to another one, and which is it's not showing up the time. Please, you have to, because I want to stick to the time. Because there's a big topic and I've got around 100 slides. So I don't want to just go on and on. We got around 6 more minutes. So maybe 3-4 more slides. All right. So this is the data from something known as Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center 14C. They have named this as 14C. So whenever you talk about 14C, it's always, I call it 14C. I know. So 14C, because let me tell you why I call this as 14C in the next slide. Okay, so we got increasing data from around the corona period up till now, and which is increasing drastically, but still for me this is still a small number. But let us see why this number is more than our previous numbers. Our previous numbers were like 65,000, 30,000, so on. But now we got in thousand. So this is 2268 multiplied by 1000, which is around 2 million, 2.25. So suddenly we got 2.25 million cybercrime cases compared to 65,000 cybercrime cases. So let's see. All right. So there is some Prevention of Money Laundering Act by Finance Ministry, and I foresee, and that is why I just want to have correlation with our finance, like those IPCs. We'll come to some of the IPCs. Okay, so these are linked to cyber frauds, crypto scams, and online money laundering. So that was the purpose of this, and this is how officially what they will tell you to do it. So once you do this, then you can be included in the 2.25 million rather than 65,000. So people who follow this. Now look, what is the reason for that 65,000 and this 2.25 million is because people will go and choose one of these two methods. They will either go to online portal or they will go to the national helpline number. But why it's 65,000 is because they are not completing the entire process, because you need to upload the document, you need to upload the evidence and so forth. Simply you are calling, so somebody will register that simply there is a call. But what about the evidence? Have you uploaded the evidence? Because even if you call this 1930 number, I have called, I think many of you might have called. Everybody has been a victim at some point. So if you call and then you give your grievance and so forth, but you do not upload the evidence, you automatically are not going into the 65,000 bracket. So to come into that bracket today, for your grievance to be taken seriously, all of this process needs to be followed. What are the losses? Just ballpark figure. For fiscal year 2024, the losses are around 2,000 million, which is around 2 billion. And here are some of these types of frauds. Carding fraud, ATM. So I'm pretty sure that you know all of this, so I'm just going to skip this. But in the end, in the green, there are figures for the fiscal year first quarter, first trimester, which is April to Jan, fiscal year 2025. So we have lost around 4,000 crores in this fiscal year for the only, that's the data only for the 4 months. So somebody will say it's not a huge number, but for some people that's a huge number. Some small companies who only have a turnover of, let's say, 2 crores, 3 crores, for them this is a good number. Maybe their entire economy, the firm itself will become bankrupt if there is a loss of, let's say, 2 crores for that company. Okay. Types of crimes. Let us go to, first of all, cyber fraud cases reported across India by state. Now we are talking about cyber fraud, so you remember my title is, there are 3-pronged title. One is cyber crime, one is cyber fraud, and one is cyber security. So previously we were talking about cyber crimes, now we are talking about cyber frauds. So yes, okay, good. So we'll come to that in the next slide. Okay, so these are the numbers related to, if I have to give award for the most, person, yes, so that will go to Vishal Jain. Okay, by this, everybody knows your name. All right. Please don't discuss let me finish. Okay, so these are by state, and suddenly the numbers have come down. You will see that previously, if you did not notice, maybe can I go back to those previous, or let's say, all right. So that was slide number 8, where we had cyber crimes reported across India by leading state, and now this slide is cyber fraud reported. So what is the difference between these two? Good anticipation. So the cyber crimes, they will include all as per IT Act and NCRB. I have several of those IT Acts also listed, but I don't think that we are going to get time. Cyber fraud, cyber stalking and bullying, sexual exploitation, online identity theft, extortion, digital forgery, data theft, and so on. So you will see that cyber fraud only small subset of all of this cyber crimes. Financial frauds, they will fall into the category of cyber frauds, investment scams, trading scams, OTP scams, and so on. And in the next slide, there is this detailed breakup of all of these different types. Now, I have 100 slides and we have covered only 16. So I cannot, there's a lot more. And also we can have a lot of discussion related to that, but we should respect the time and we should respect the person who has allotted us this time. So I'm going to stop here and we can have discussion later on. All right, thank you so much. Yes, this is the reply. This is the reply. So okay, so that concludes, and we will have more discussion later on. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for taking us to the world of cybercrime and cyber fraud. Though the talk was very limited in time, but we could definitely get through what is to follow on the remaining slides. Honhar birwan ke hote chikne paat. So it says that if there is a plant at the very early stage, if you see its leaves are very smooth, shiny, then definitely the plant is going to be very healthy and it is supposed to grow. So the beginning says how the other content would be, so we could go through the content that he wanted to mean. The cybercrime, the cyber fraud. Cyber fraud basically is a subset of cybercrime. All cyber frauds are cyber crimes, but all cyber crimes are not cyber frauds. Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking time for preparing these slides. Definitely we will love to hear from you in the next week. Maybe we all have time, and we will take time from our invigilation duties, and we will love to learn from you, especially those graphs and the statistical representation and how to play with the numbers. Right? एक कहावत है कि जात ने पूछो साधु की, पूछ लीजिए ज्ञान, मोल करो तलवार का, राह पर दो म्यान. जात ने पूछो साधु की, पूछ लीजिए ज्ञान, मोल करो तलवार का, पड़ा रहन दो म्यान. We should be very much focused like Arjuna. The focus must be on the eye of the bird, right? So when we are dealing with a cause like cyber security, it is not the percentage or the ratio which matters. The point of concern should be the number of crimes, the number of families, the number of companies that have been swept away into this crime. A jump from 27,000 to 43,000, 16,000, 18,000 cases, the families whose money has been looted out. It should not be a game of a statistician to play with the numbers. कि 5 गुना है, 4 गुना है, 6 गुना है. Let that debate be with somebody else. As a technocrat, we must find out the solutions, and we must deal with this number with the greatest sensitivity. Playing with the numbers is not our game. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now I request Sandhya Tawani ma'am to please come over here and start the felicitation ceremony. So we would like to you to please give the certificates to the team which has contributed to the conference, the organizing team, the volunteers, whosoever is here. Utpal sir, please. Thank you, sir.